The Conservative Party of Quebec has a new leader just named over the weekend. It's Eric Duhaime, and he joins me now on the program. Monsieur Duhaime, thank you so much for coming on the show, and félicitations, congratulations on being named the new leader of the Quebec Conservative Party.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you.
Listen, I know you voted for François Legault back in the day, and now you're running a party that I guess has high aspirations. What led you into politics?
Well, first off, you're right. I voted for François Legault 3 times. I'm a former ADQ. I was a political advisor for Mario Dumont. And when the ADQ merged with the CAQ, I kept voting for the CAQ. And I trusted François Legault. I thought he was, center-right on the political spectrum. But after 2 years and a half, we realize every single day that he's more and more on the left. Actually, it's more of a PQ 2.0 that we have than a former ADQ 2.0. So I'm very disappointed. And like many other Quebecers, I left the party and I decided, what am I going to do? The 3 other parties are even worse. So where else could we go? And then the Conservative Party was there. There was a leadership race. So I said, why don't I jump on board and try to, win the leadership race? And it went so well. We sold 14,000 memberships all across Quebec over the last 5 months. The party went from 700 members to over 14,000. So it went very well. So today I'm speaking to you as leader of a party that counts more members than the CAQ, the Coalition for the Future of Quebec of François Legault.
And I know, obviously, you're a popular guy. I mean, you've had that microphone. You've been a radio host. There's a lot of reasons why you have that name recognition. I want to go back to what you just said. Saying the CAQ and François Legault, they're more on the left. I can tell you, I could probably hear the listeners yelling at the radio about Bill 21, right, which they would view as an extreme right kind of measure. And Bill 21 is in the news this morning, and you are the leader of a party now in Quebec. So let me get your take on Bill 21 and the ruling this morning that for the most part upholds it, with 2 exceptions, members of the National Assembly and English school boards.
Absolutely. So first off, personally, I do believe that Quebec in the past has paid way too much for battles and fights between francophones and anglophones, federalists and separatists. And fortunately, I think we're getting over that debate once and for all. Well, maybe not for all, but at least we're moving ahead and we're going to vote on something else. The separatist idea is melting, just like the snowbanks a few weeks ago. So I think we're over that. And it did huge problems, especially in Montreal. We lost a lot of Anglo-Quebecers who were a great wealth for Quebec, and we need to learn from that mistake. And that's very important for me, that we reconcile Quebecers and we stop splitting ourselves on linguistic and constitutional fights. That being said, it's the same thing with Bill 101. I know that there's a lot of people in the English community or in some cultural communities or different ethnic groups or religious groups that are against, Bill 21 or Bill 101. But I do believe that every time that we reopen those debates, we're reopening the fights and we're reopening the suffering that we went through. And currently, I feel that we have kind of a bonne entente,
a balance has been struck. Yeah,
it's exactly. We don't have currently huge fights on those debates, and I think we should, as francophones, as anglophones, learn from that, and also figure out that it's been a weakness for years because we were fighting and we lost a lot of people during those years. And now it could be a strength if we decide that, yes, we are a society where French is the common language in Quebec, where there's a huge English community that has historical rights, and we should build on that because it's a wealth. It's something that we should benefit from it, stop suffering because of it. And that's the way, the perspective I see it. I know it's very philosophical this morning, but it gives you an idea where I come from. So I define myself as a nationalist, as a Quebec nationalist. I'm proud of being a Quebecer, but on the other side, I don't want us to reopen the fights of the past. I think Quebec has suffered enough because of numerous linguistic crises, because of 2 referendums. It's time to move on. and to split on other issues. And I think we should go on a spectrum like all the other democracies in the world and split on the left and right, those who want more and those who want less government intervention in their lives.
We're with Eric Duhaime, a new leader of the Quebec Conservative Party. Let's get to what you just mentioned, and when we talk about your vision, you know, when I speak to you right now, Monsieur Duhaime, you sound reasonable and calm and a rational kind of guy, well-meaning, right? But of course, there's, you know, and speaking, forget the old battles, let's talk about current battles. When it comes to COVID-19 and restrictions. It seems like you and your party are a little bit too adjacent to the conspiracy theorist part of Quebec society. And to me, that puts up, you know, alarm bells for me and I think for a lot of people. What do you say on that end?
You're right that I have a different approach on the management of the crisis than the four parties represented currently at the National Assembly. I do believe that the measures are abusive. I do believe that we should do like a majority of states south of our borders, and we should reopen up our economy. We should stop the lockdown. We shouldn't have a curfew. I've been in favor of that since the beginning. I've always thought that we should protect our vulnerable people, meaning that the older people. But on the other hand, we should live freely. We have to learn how to live with a virus. And that's been the approach of the Conservative Party from the beginning, and that's what's going to happen.
That's also been the approach in Brazil, and that has not worked out. That country is going to pass the U.S. in debts. Why do you want to tax the healthcare system to an extent like that when we're so close, by the way, to vaccines solving the problem?
There's few things. The first off, examples, I could use other examples. Many Quebecers are in Florida right now. A lot of people are talking about their friends and neighbors who are currently in Florida, the snowbirds, and we see the difference. And there's all sorts of states in the U.S. You compare North Dakota to South Dakota, or there's a lot of comparison you can take without going as far as Brazil. And the reason why, when you're talking about the vaccine, if only it was true. The problem I have currently is that if François Legault was telling us, okay, we're going to stop the lockdown and the curfew as soon as we have 50% of people who are vaccinated, then at least we would have a target, we would have something. But it seems that he's always changing the rules, and he's always making sure he keeps all the power because of the emergency state in his hands. And he's always pushing the light at the end of the tunnel further and further and further. He started a curfew 100 days ago. It was supposed to last 28. He started the lockdown on October 1st for 28 days. It's been how much? Like 190 something days. He's always betraying us. He's always lying to us. And I think that's also creating a lot of people who are exasperated.
I have one more question for you. Then, unfortunately, I have to wrap up here. And it again relates to COVID-19. Like, do you think you know better than all of Quebec's medical experts and scientists and researchers who are saying stay the course right now and we'll get out of this? You know better than them?
First off, there's no unanimous consent, and it's not only. I'm not just looking at Quebec. I'm looking at what's going on all around the world, and Quebec has one approach. It's the most extreme, by the way, of all those of the 60 states in North America. No other restaurants have been closed down as much as in Quebec. The construction industry has never been affected like in Quebec. Same thing for the industries. Same thing for the curfew. We have the worst restrictions on the continent. If it was working, we would have the best, the less people dying than anyone else. But we have the worst of Canada. So
interesting. It's interesting as we right now are standing with the best record in Canada in this third wave. Eric Duhaime, I want to thank you for coming on this program, and you are welcome to come back. We got to talk again real soon. Thanks so much.
It's going to be a pleasure. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Eric Duhaime is the new leader of the Quebec Conservative Party.